Uphill, both ways, when I reflect upon my presentation mastery program. Part of that was because of the Pathways program that I certainly struggled with. Yet I have achieved a modicum of excellence, I think. Hopefully you will agree with me. I began with the fear of public speaking at an agoraphobic level. You may not know that because some of you have only seen me where I've been pretty confident. But at the beginning of my journey, it was extremely difficult for me to get up here and do anything. Thank God for Xanax. Everyone give an amen. Amen. Just, there you go. To the confident speaker level. That is what we are looking for with our entire paths, whatever path you're taking. You're looking for this journey. However, my mom and dad used to say anything that was difficult for them, they would call it, I had to go uphill both ways. Now, for a non-English speaker, I think everybody's an English speaker in here, right? Yes? Is that correct? If you weren't, then I would explain what uphill both ways meant. It would be, okay, uphill both ways for Tatiana, our American Ukraine gal. Uphill both ways simply means Mom and Dad would say, okay, I had to go to school in the morning and it was snowing uphill both ways, which in their vernacular it was difficult no matter what they did. It was difficult getting there, it was difficult coming back. And that is public speaking. It's difficult when you start, it's difficult in the middle, and it's difficult at the end if you're doing it right. And how are you doing it right? You're doing it right because you're speaking. You're speaking. It's not the desire to speak. It's not the excitement to speak. I can't wait to speak. Oh boy, you have people that are fantasizing about getting up and giving a talk about this, that, and the other. No, it's the need to speak that gets us here. We need a reason to get up and humiliate ourselves, possibly, in front of other people. It's a need. So that's something that's really important that I learned through this journey, through this path. Listen with deep intention to the other speakers. Look around, really. Make eye contact. You are looking at the champions. You are looking at oratory excellence. You are looking at your teachers, your speaking teachers around you. This is in this path, and this is in every speaking path. You are surrounded by people who are going to teach you how to speak. And then like Jackson did, thank you very much, speak. You can't just show up, sit there, and enjoy the meetings. You must have the courage and the confidence, and perhaps the Xanax, to go ahead and say, I'm signing up for that speech. Speaking of need, okay, this was not my first day, this was me goofing around. But this was how I felt. Running down the street with my hair on fire is pretty much how I felt when I began this journey 5 years ago. Because I wrote a book, published it, gosh darn it, and I had to now talk about it. Those of you who have known me a while and know that Tilly Lewis Queen has done rather well, and now I've got a new book coming out about Monterey. I have to speak about these things. I have the need. I have the need. Choose your topics that are important to you. This is something big in this path, presentation mastery. Choose a need that's important to you. Don't talk about something that you do not care about, because you're bored before you begin. I promise you, you're going to bore him. Oh yeah. I mean, don't be bored. Pick something that's exciting. When you're talking about the 49ers, yay! Everybody's excited about that. Okay, except me. All right, but there's food, so I'm excited about the food. And I think J-Lo's going to perform, right? So I'm excited about that. Know your audience interests. There's not a lot of Republicans in this room. There's just not. So I'm not going to come in here and tell you exactly this, that, and the other about Donald Trump. I'm just not, because that's not going to interest you. It could actually get me hurt. So know your audience interests. I wouldn't do that, but I would pick subjects and topics that you might be interested in, that are pretty guaranteed. I know you guys well enough. And you can go on Facebook and look these things up. These are things in this path of presentation mastery I have learned. Just to be prepared and go online, see what's what, listen to your other presenters and know what they're into, what they talk about. If the audience becomes combative, have candy. There's candy in that bag right there. I should have brought it up, but I didn't. I'll eat it myself. When I did the speech about managing a difficult audience, I gave out candy, and that's part of presentation mastery. You guys gave me a bad time about this, that, and the other, but you were supposed to give me a bad time about this, that, and the other. This really happens in real life. Real life, this happens all the time. You're talking, somebody's phone rings, and they'll actually answer it. They'll actually answer it. Or they're staring off into space. And then you say, what really is on your mind? What would you rather be talking about with this?
Russia's like the biggest country.
Russia's like the biggest country. It is huge. So that's where his mind went. So I am of such interest to him because he's thinking about vastness. Could you please pass me a guest? Okay. Because Russia is indeed a giant country. Everybody agree with me on that? I learned that through presentation mastery, to know what it is, the keys that unlock the passion. This boy is going to get up here and tell us about Russia versus possibly Ukraine. We could watch the fighting going to be exciting, almost as good as the Democrats and Republicans thing. But again, give candy if the audience becomes combative and they're not interested in something and they're thinking, why did she talk about Russia? Next time. Next time, I promise. I'll wear the hat and everything. Throughout this presentation mastery presentation group, these are some of the things I did. I was busy doing body language. That's something that you are working on throughout presentation mastery. You are doing body language. So it's something that you are adding into your talk, your presentation, is you're making sure that your body language coordinates and goes with the rest of your talk. Santa Claus. I came and I persuaded, that was my point, that there is indeed a Santa Claus. We had a little altercation on this, that, and the other. I think that was something we got off into with managing a difficult audience, where we got off onto somebody saying, well, something about the president. I mean, it went crazy. Thank goodness we have candy for the snarkies in their room. Peeps. I persuaded people, and I did a darn good job, because all we are saying is give Peeps a chance. I'm telling you, we went from Peeps being just a sugary concoction, a confectionery that is of no value to anyone, nobody cares, but when I convinced you, I persuaded you that those sweet little treats, oh, not only are they adorable, they are so few in calories, 0 fat. Their calorie content is notated on their little nest, their little crate, versus that hideous, sinister chocolate bunny that's in a giant box 3 times as big as he is. And his calorie content for the little rabbit is 816 calories. Sneaky little rabbit. So I convince folks, when you're doing Easter, to look at that and realize, choose Peeps. Give Peeps a chance. Vocal variety. Now, I was doing vocal variety here. No, I was doing body language, it says so, whoops. I was doing body language here and vocal variety here. That's right, body language. And note, I learned this through presentation mastery. Who did I pick? Now, we've lost some of these people, not as in they passed on to another, universe, or they've just moved on. But these were members of our club. Some of them are current members of our club. But you use the people in your audience when at all possible. Does that make sense? Because people are interested in who? They're interested in themselves. And Russia.
And Russia.
That's right, and Russia. Of all of the speeches I gave in Presentation Mastery, the last one I gave, the last one I put together was a debate. I broke all the rules. I asked Arnie and Carl to speak on that which they did not believe in. And I felt while they did an exemplary job, I thought it was a fail. So that's that uphill both ways thing, where I'm almost at the end. It's the last speech of my deal before I have to give this reflection. I think that was the biggest shock to me, is that all of these speeches, all of these things, and that last one, I didn't pull it off. And the reason I didn't pull it off, I believe, is I asked two marvelous speakers to not speak on their passion. I already covered that. Speak on your passion. I had them do the opposite. I thought that was a good choice. I wouldn't do that again. But that's the idea of reflecting, isn't it? Yeah. Uphill both ways. Now I stand on the precipice of moving on to another path. Tatiana's considered and asked me to think about humor. Humor is hard. It's awful being not funny when you're trying to be funny. I just might try that though, because that will certainly be uphill both ways. This is me. I'm looking at you. I appreciate every single moment you have given me to make my presentations, to better my speaking skills. I reflect that this Toastmasters is one of the highlights of my life. And I appreciate you absolutely to the depths of my soul and my agoraphobia.